I have a bit of a headache, so if this video is kind of low energy, please don't be surprised. Let me know in the comments below if I go into like an essay mode, essentially, where I just start ranting about things in like an academic way. I don't want to do that. I want to talk kind of loosely about my feelings about this and then kind of just explain in as much detail what's happening with the games industry. So if you guys don't know me, my name is Nick Owens, and since January I've been working as a QA tester on Fortnite. I know what you're thinking. Fortnite, really? Don't front. It's the second biggest game in the world. It's a great opportunity, and it looks fucking phenomenal on a resume. Let's dive right in to why or how this coronavirus is affecting the games industry from an employee standpoint. From a consumer standpoint, the games industry looks really good right now. We've had massive increase in numbers. The opinion of games has gone up. The WHO has even recommended people play video games as a pastime, which I don't think has ever happened before. Let's talk about what's happening on my end, on the employee side. And we're going to start with hardware. Now, hardware in every job is pretty important because if you don't have the hardware, you can't do your job. Every job basically now requires a PC, besides obviously manual labor, but every job requires some sort of PC that can run certain softwares, whether it be Microsoft Office or Slack or anything, access to Google Drive, pull files, website stuff. Everything requires a PC. Games is in a specific position where they need powerful PCs. They need PCs that can run games. So with a PC at home, my PC at home can run games. It can run games really well. It's a beast. But it also means that I'd have to use my own space to download all of this stuff, and it means I also have to use my own internet, not company internet, to download it. So those are the two big issues. People running on their home PCs, if they're not powerful enough, or they just don't have the storage to build Fortnite every day, or they don't have the internet to quickly pull the builds that they need to. Now, I just spit some terms at you that might seem kind of new, but they're pretty simple. Pulling the build just refers to pulling the files from the build, or pulling the files from the root folder and getting them on your computer so that you can test with them. Now, that might not seem like it's that big of a deal, but you have to remember that you're pulling a full game every day. And that might also be for multiple consoles. I specifically work on the Battle Royale mobile team, which is its own topic, I suppose. Most days, I'm pulling PC, iOS, and an Android build, and then sometimes I also play on PS4. So I pull the PS4 build every day as well. My internet's really good, so it only takes me about half an hour to pull basically everything that I need. But other people have a lot worse internet, or they're in areas that don't supply great internet. They don't get that. They pull in like 2 or 3 hours, which is insane. It means they can't test effectively till after lunch, which is not ideal. Epic Games has implemented solutions to help both of those problems. One of them is okay, and the other two are actually really big helpers. Let's go ahead and talk about the two that are really helpful first, and then I'll mention the third one that's not. The one that I want to talk about first is that Epic Games has given us our work hardware. I'm sorry if I keep looking at this camera. There's a screen over on the side of my camera, and I'm just not terribly good at this. If it gets too distracting, let me know in the comments below, and I'll see what I can do. Maybe I'll just stop running with the screen and start looking directly at the camera, so I'll check my framing. Whatever. Different topic. So work hardware. Epic Games has given everybody in the company the permission to take their hardware from the office home, which is huge. The PCs that we have are really powerful. They're not well ventilated, mind you, because they're all like ThinkStation cases. But they're powerful, and they can run Fortnite. Fortnite's not an intensive game to run. It's a big game, mind you, but it's not an intensive game to run. That's why it's great that we were given all of our work hardware. This monitor that you see behind me, that's a work monitor, as well as, you can't really see it, but I have a mouse and a keyboard that I brought from the office, the PC, and then my PlayStation. That's a PlayStation 4 dev kit. If you guys don't know how expensive they are, whew, Google it. I also have a iOS and an Android device. I have an iPhone X and a Samsung Galaxy S9 Plus with me. I think it's a Galaxy. Hold on. These. So yeah, a Galaxy S9 Plus and an iPhone X. I have both of these with me now, so I can test effectively on mobile. A lot of other people also have this. People brought home Switches. They brought home Xboxes. They brought home other mobile devices. They brought home tablets. They brought home third-party things like Razer phones or Sony or something like that. They brought home a lot of stuff. This is a big deal for Epic because we as QA typically don't get these permissions. So we were given these permissions. We've never had something like this before. And the fact that Epic moved quickly enough to get us everything that we need to set up at home is huge. The second thing is probably bigger. The second thing is that Epic Games tried to address the internet thing in 2 ways. And actually I changed my mind. I'll explain the one that is working okay right now, but wasn't the big one. There's a software called Media Shuttle. Now, how it works, I have zero idea. But it basically allows you to just transfer files from one drive to your drive, from like an online storage place to your hard drive. And it's supposed to be typically faster. It has some complications, which is why it doesn't work too well. Sometimes it's down, sometimes the pull speeds are really slow. It just depends on what's actually happening that given day. It's a day-by-day basis. People use it and we check it every day. I don't, because my internet is great. I have like 500 down, 100 up, and I can just pull straight from the root directory of Epic Games' servers and get everything that I need that way. I don't know what that was. Something fell. So the other thing that they did that's even bigger is they gave us a work from home stipend. And this isn't a stipend that's like, government $1,200 check or whatever. No, this is a big stipend. Epic Games gave every employee, and by every employee, I mean every employee, all contractors as well as new hires that we've brought on the past 2 weeks or so. All of these people have gotten a $5,000 stipend. This is huge. People who don't have good internet can upgrade the internet. People who don't have a desk can get a desk. Don't have a chair can get a chair. Don't have a home monitor, don't have a second monitor, they can buy a monitor. They can buy all of these things that they didn't have before. This camera that I'm filming on, this Canon M50, also bought through the stipend. It's big. It's huge. It also acts as a rent buffer. So people who live with spouses or live with people who may not have a job right now, they might have gotten laid off due to this coronavirus, they now have a buffer for their rent while all this tries to blow over. It's super helpful, it's incredibly supportive, and I am astounded at Epic Games' commitment to their employees. I didn't know what to expect when I came into this company in January, but I have to say, I have been nothing but pleasantly surprised with everything that these guys have done. There have been some downs, sure, not many. The company's been great to me, and I hope that it continues to do so, especially through this trying time. So what about the second problem? The second problem relies in something called internal and external QA houses. Now, this is a term that we use here at Epic Games, and I'm not sure if that's industry standard or not to call them internal, external. You can think of it as in-house and outsourced if that helps you differentiate between the two. Within Epic Games, we have a big circle, and the big circle is the company, and that's the hierarchy of the company. And then we need to focus on QA specifically here. So in QA, we have our senior QA leads, our analysts, our testers, yada, yada, yada. And then all of that is under the bubble of Epic Games. And then if you draw a dotted line out from that circle, you get another circle that's external. One of the big studios that uses keywords, so if I refer to something as keywords, it's an external studio house. The thing that's important to realize here, and the way that you can simplify this, is that internal houses are run and employed by the actual company. I'm part of an internal house. My internal QA lead is an employee of Epic Games. He is led under Epic Games. External is not. External is an associate type of thing, a satellite studio, if you will, where they're contracted by Epic Games to do certain tests, but none of them work directly for Epic Games. They're all their own company, and they all have their own roles. That's how that works, which is great. It makes it so that some of the tasks that are too bulky, because external houses are typically bigger, some of the tasks that are too big or too general or don't require permissions that internal houses have, we can throw on external and free the internal team up for other tasks. It's a super beneficial system. The bad thing is that when the company is based in Montreal, in India, and there are government shutdowns of those studios, we lose a big testing force, which is what happened. We lost a testing force. What that meant was that the internal team had to then take on the workload of the external team as well as continue doing their internal work. That's a lot of internal externals in one sentence, and I hope you understood that. And it didn't come off as like confusing at all. But this is a confusing situation because it means that our overall testing force was cut by, if I had to give a percentile number, probably 60%, give or take, which is not good. Nicht bueno, as I would say. What actually happened there? Are we back up to testing forces? Short answer, yes. We're back up. As the government shutdown was happening, less and less people started working for the external studios. They kept getting sent home, and they didn't have permissions to take their stuff home and work from home. They recently just got those permissions, I believe. I hope that's not breaching NDA. So the external is now able to work from home effectively, making our testing force back up to probably 80 to 90% of what it was before. Big buff. Huge buff. There's certain things they can't do, certain consoles they can't test due to other complications, but overall, the load on internal has been lifted a bit from what it was previously, and it allows us a lot more freedom in testing other tasks, which is exactly what we needed to do in the first place. There's also changes that might be happening in the overarching industry. Things that are going to happen across the industry as a result of this pandemic. Those things could range from super small things, like external houses getting more permissions and more sensitive information. I say small, but that's just, it's small in the scheme of things. And then there's larger things, like contractors getting extra benefits or extra permissions, like industry-wide, which would be massive. It would allow a lot of contractors more freedom in testing and stuff like that. Can we expect any of those things to happen due to the pandemic? Maybe. It depends on how long it lasts, in my opinion. I've linked below a video by a developer for Valorant, which is a hotly anticipated game that I don't have a beta key for, and I'm still mad about it. But the problems that they're seeing are the same problems that I was seeing, same problems that I've talked about. And I hope that that gets resolved in the coming months. I hope that everything evens out and we're able to do everything. And I'm fully expecting by June for all of this to have leveled out to a point where we could potentially go back to the office and work from there. May is tricky, but by June I expect us to be able to be back in the office. If you guys would like to see an expansion of what's going to happen as a result of this pandemic, I'm more than happy to talk about it. I just don't know what right now because I haven't taken an extensive look at it. I'd have to do more research and think about what's actually going to happen after all this is over, if anything. So if you guys are interested in seeing that, let me know in the comments down below. If you guys enjoyed this video, please subscribe. You guys can also find my other social medias down below. You can tweet me at Kyogre for any suggestions. And if you guys have anything that you want to know, please let me know, either on Twitter or over Instagram, because I'll link that below, I guess. YouTube comments, something like that. I hope you guys truly enjoyed this video, or you guys are curious about what's going to happen next. You guys can expect me to do more content like this in the future, as well as talk about other game design, as well as just talk about general game design stuff. And also, I plan on doing live streams sometime in the future. I don't know when this will be. This is a long-term thing for me. The live streams, when they happen, I will announce them on Twitter. So if you guys want to know when those happen, feel free to follow me there. I'll also try and announce it on other social medias, but Twitter will be the first place that knows. So with all that said, I want you all to have a great day. I want you all to stay home. I want you to stay healthy, and I want you to stay safe. And until next time, peace out.